this leg press hack machine has been, I said the wrong thing. This leg press combination hack squat machine has been one of the best additions to my gym that I got from RitFit earlier in the year. And now we're adding to that with this new leg extension combination leg curl machine that they've sent me, which has been really nice. I've been using this thing for years to get the job done. 175 bucks, nothing special. You can do leg extension, leg curls. It's not that comfortable. You can't adjust the length or anything, so sometimes it can be painful on the knees depending on your height. I've made it work, but now with this pulley system it has, it's really smooth and feels a whole lot better. So let's take a look at all the stuff you can do with this. So the whole thing took about an hour to put together with my son, and I really like how their hardware comes already labeled out with each of the steps that you need to do, so you can just pop that part open and get what you need. It makes the whole process a lot simpler. And this thing is only about 4 feet by 3.5 feet. And you can see, obviously there's not room on the other side of the garage for it, but here, I can even park a car in here still, and I just push it against the wall when I'm done, and when I want to use it, I just angle it out like that so that I can do my feet freely. It's no problem. It stores really nicely. On the back here, we've got some weight plate storage. So you throw your plates on there. We've got a safety hook, but for me, you don't really need this because it's not like these things are gonna slide off. So that's not really necessary in my opinion, but I just throw it on there because it's something to have. I think the whole thing is about 100 pounds by itself. And the weight capacity of this is 375 pounds. That's a lot. I've only gone up to like 150 or 160 around that for leg extensions. But one thing I really like about this is that you can stack a whole lot of plates on there. Whereas with my other one here, you can only get 4 plates total. So once I started getting up into the 130s, 140s, I couldn't just add on a 10 or 5 easily because then I'm already at the end of it. Whereas with this, I can just keep stacking plates like 7, 8 maybe. The one thing I will say about this rail though, it fits fine. It's a 2-inch standard rail. These slide on fine, but my Rogue weights, I guess they're just really tight tolerances and they fit fine on the Rogue bars. But on here, I can only get them on about this far and they get kind of stuck. So be aware, depending on the type of plates you have, they might not slide on there too easily. And something that's cool on here, these little pegs here, so if you wanted to make it more difficult, rather than it being just a continuous amount of tension when you're doing your leg extension or leg curl, you could pull this over a little bit, and before you put the plates on, stick a band over this, so then as you do your extension and this goes up, it's gonna get harder the further up it goes. So then you change the tension curve or work curve, depending on how you look at that. But that's an option there. I don't have any bands, so I haven't tried it, but it may be something to look towards in the future, because once you start getting up to like, I mean, if you get up to like 180 or 200 pounds with this, it seems like that's a lot of stress on your joints, whereas you can just, instead of adding more weight, just make the tension get harder. So you're doing that same weight, but making it more difficult. So coming on to here, something I really like about this machine is all of these different positions you have here. So typically with a leg extension machine, and like with that one there, it just stops at the bottom like this. So you get the work, you're doing your leg extension. But with this, there's a couple more stops, so you can get it really far back. And all the science that's coming out lately is saying the further you can get a stretch with your exercises, the more work you're gonna get done. So instead of stopping here, now I can bring my legs all the way back, stretched really far. I like the seat in this position, leaning back a little bit, and it just helps to stretch. And then go through that range of motion and let it down, stretch really far, push up, and then you get more out of the exercise while using less weight. Now, the bottom, I like how this is. It's adjustable, so depending on where you want it, how long your feet are, their literature says this is good for someone between 5'1" and I think 6'2". So this right here, instead of having something with a peg that you got to move up and down to get right, like I've used on a lot of machines, you can just slide it up and down, which I like because it's easy to adjust and get comfortable. And it's fewer parts to have to deal with. So get it how you want, it's comfortable, you're good to go. Now the seat position does come more upright. I used to like doing them like this, but ever since I've started leaning back more, to me, I feel like it needs to have another position in between, because when this is all the way up, it pushes me forward in the seat and my knees aren't parallel with the axis that the work's going around, so I can't really, it just doesn't feel right. So be aware of that. If you're a little bit taller, long legs, you're gonna have to get used to sitting back a little bit like this to get a better workout, but it feels fine to me. This is actually more comfortable now that I'm used to it. So then we move to the leg curl side of it. So you just pull the pin, drop it down, pull this up to where it's comfortable. This is another thing too. Generally at gyms, I like to use the seated leg curl machines because when you're seated, you're already at a really stretched position, and then you're pulling down and you can't really cheat. As you'll see in a second here, when I get on here, if you put this down lower, it's going to stretch your legs some, but your knees can only really stretch so far. But as you do it, your hips tend to come up, whereas if you're sitting, that's not gonna happen. It's not a big deal, but this is still way more comfortable than that bench I was using before. In that cable system, it's just really smooth. It doesn't hurt my knees, doesn't hurt my hips, my back. These handles here, I feel like they're kind of welded into the piece that's down here. And I feel like it could have made it where it moves a little bit inside that, because it's kind of weird, your hands being like this. I feel like this should be turned about right here and it would be a little better. These are just nitpicky things. It works fine. But also, I think if this piece went down lower so that, you know, you're bent over a little more, that would help with the hips coming up, because you're already in that bent over position a little bit, rather than being completely flat and your butt lifting off the bench. Tiny things I would say just to look into if you're gonna upgrade the machine. It would be nice to have an option to sit and do a seated leg curl, but really that just involves more parts, gonna make it more difficult, more expensive. This thing's 400 bucks, which is about twice as much as that bench I was using before, and this thing is way more comfortable and way more useful already in the last few weeks that I've been using it. But overall, I have really been enjoying this the last few weeks. I'm glad RitFit sent it to me to try out. This is one of their new pieces of equipment. I think it's actually sold out right now, but I'm gonna have a link in the description so you can check out. And this machine, along with my leg press hack squat machine, those two things, if you're kind of afraid of doing squats, doing free weight stuff, you can get a really good workout with doing hack squats, doing the leg presses, especially with the little modifications that I made to get an extra deep stretch on those. Along with these, you can get all around quads, hamstrings, calves, and get a great workout with your legs. So let me know if you have any questions about this machine overall, just from what you saw, functionality, and I'll try to answer those questions in the comments to help you out as much as I can. Hit like if you like this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see y'all in the next one.